From the Oklahoma newsroom, it's time for a varsity update. I'm Jenny Carlson here with high school sports beat writer Jacob Unruh. Jacob, we are rolling through district play. Week 5 is already here, halfway to the end of the regular season. Hard to believe, but deep into district play, and those top 10 games, they just get better and better. This week, a big 6A matchup between Midwest City and an undefeated Stillwater team. Both undefeated. Really good matchup at the top.
Yeah, this is a game that I've really been looking forward to since Midwest City opened up the year with that win in Arkansas, and Stillwater has got off to this fast start where their offense has just been unstoppable with Gunnar Gundy and Quantrell Walker and Anthony Bland.
Yeah.
They've just run through teams. They've run through 6A1 opponents without much problem, and this could be the springboard to a district title for either team.
Yeah.
Midwest City got in that wild shootout last week with Lawton. Preston Colbert came back from a knee injury, and Cameron Wilson had a big night. And they got in this wild shootout that you thought was going to be a defensive battle the way Midwest City's reputation has been the last few years. And they each go and I think combined for almost 100 points. And so this could almost be a shootout again with Stillwater. Yeah. Stillwater's defense has been really good, but this is definitely just the matchup you want to see this week.
By the way, Midwest City does have a loss. I misspoke, but still, a great matchup there at the top. I want to jump down to number 3, your number 3 matchup, because that's Heritage Hall and John Marshall, who are both defending state champs, but now in the same classification. So an unbelievable matchup here of programs that have really accelerated in the last decade or two. Just a great game right there. Yeah,
this is a game that easily could have been number 1 on my top 10. Mm-hmm. I think this one and the one above it, Bixby and Booker T, a rematch of last year's 6A2 game, could have been a number 1, but this game with John Marshall and Heritage Hall, this is a heavyweight matchup. They've played the last 2 years in non-district. Heritage Hall won both matchups. Despite John Marshall having Devontae Lee at the time, he's gone. Gerard Levinston is playing out of his mind at quarterback now, and now all of a sudden they go from a running team to a passing team. He's already got 17 touchdown passes in 4 games. Mm-hmm. They scored 76 points last week. Heritage Hall opened with Millwood, first loss in regular season in a few years. They've played really well since, beating Clinton. This is ultimately, I think, going to decide the district title in this district. The other thing that I will point out is John Marshall is 4-0, but they have not played the caliber of opponents Heritage Hall has. So I'm kind of curious how this game will go at the same time. Mm-hmm. But it should be nothing but entertaining.
Speaking of undefeated, you've got a slew of teams that are still undefeated playing each other in sort of the 5, 6, 7 range. UConn's 4-0 against Edmond Santa Fe, also 4-0. A 4-0 Lincoln Christian against a 4-0 Seminole. And then your number 7 game is a 5A game between 4-0 Tahlequah, 4-0 Skiatook. Any of those teams in that undefeated grouping that are surprised at all that they're to this point and in such high-profile games with those undefeated records?
I don't want to say UConn's a surprise necessarily. I think Jeremy Reed's doing a good job in building that way. But to go 4-0 for UConn is a huge accomplishment. It's the first time in 2 decades that they've been 4-0 at this point. Mm-hmm. So I think you've got to put them in that group. But their triple option offense that I watched last week, it was like a running clock against Norman. I mean, they had a 10-minute drive in the second half. You were at the Army OU game. It's very similar to that. They just chewed up the clock on Norman and won 14-7. Yeah. They scored the very first play of the fourth quarter, and you just felt like if Norman didn't score the next drive, they weren't getting the ball back. Mm-hmm. They got the ball back, but they still couldn't get anything going. But I think UConn's that team that can really surprise teams with how they run that offense.
Even shorter quarters in high school. So if you're doing a 10-minute drive, it's almost the whole quarter at that point. So unbelievable stuff. All right, check out Jacob's top 10 games on newsok.com. All sorts of great matchups all over the state. He'll have picks and all sorts of other information as the week goes on. So be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.